Hello viewers, this is Mentors and Me Show with Olumide Benson, where we expose brand to global audience and ensure that such brand is well positioned for global patronage. However, we need to have a working business for us to be able to promote our brand. And as a result of that, looking at the global economic situation that is nosediving, and a lot of people are also losing their job based on companies retrenching and downsizing, and a lot of things are really happening presently as a result of the global pandemic. And so there's need for us all to now look inward and see how we can have a working business. And it's after when we have a working business, that is when we can promote our brand. And so we're going to be focusing this view on how we can actually have a working business. Because of that, we'll be talking about 7 major guides to starting or holding a business. This is not going to be rocket science. We're just going to be talking about simple and practical attributes that anyone needs to have and anyone needs to imbibe in order for him or her to be able to start a business or own a business. This is something that's going to work for anybody with an average knowledge and who has a mind to be able to do business. Before we go into talking about the 7 major guides to business, I think there's need for us to just understand what business is all about, and then we can start highlighting these major guides to business. Firstly, for me, and out of experience and what I've seen around, I will just simply define business as any activity in which you are putting in energy, and then with the intention that such energy must bring up a benefit. That is to say, it must bring up a profit. Now, if you are engaging yourself in any activity and you're putting in your energy, if you have not started thinking in the direction of how it's going to profit you, then it's not yet a business. So what makes it business is whenever you just engaging yourself in that activity and you're thinking of how it's going to profit you, then it automatically becomes a business. Which means every human activity can become a business, not until when it is now viewed or approached in the perspective of profit making. Take for instance, some people just like cooking. Automatically a wife must cook for the family. Of course, it must cook for the husband, must cook for the children. Yet he's just doing this because it's his duty, he's doing this as a necessity, because everybody at home must feed. But the same cooking he's doing without looking at the profit behind it, without expecting any profit in return, without expecting any reward in return, is what someone else is doing as a means of livelihood. So the only difference between that person who is cooking for the family and the other person who is doing it as a means of livelihood is just because the person who is doing it as a means of livelihood has decided to make it his own business, and so he's thinking in the direction with which that activity is going to generate profit for him or her. That does not mean to say the person who is approaching it with a profit-oriented perspective, it does not mean it may even be a better cook than the person who is just doing it for the family, who is just doing it as a necessity. So, but because of the fact that the other person is seeing it from the angle of the fact that, look, this must pay my bill, this must generate my profit, so it automatically becomes a business. So having understood what business is, then we can now talk about the 7 major guides of business. Just to capitulate again, now a business is any activity in which energy is being involved and for the motive of generating profit. So which means any activity of man can be termed as business. Any activity of man is business if only you look at it from the perspective of profit making. So firstly, what is the major guide that we need to look at, or that is essential for you to be able to start a business or own a business? Without much ado, the first major thing that we all need to have in order for us to be able to start a business or own a business is the idea. Now, when we talk about idea, what is idea? I think that's the first question that should come to mind. Now, we all think. Now, as long as you can tell when you're hungry, which means that you have the ability to think, it means that you are responding to stimuli. Some part of your body is sending sensation to your brain, and your brain is able to interpret it, which is just a process of thinking. And as long as we can do this, any person can bring out idea. Now, how do I mean to say that any person can bring out idea? It means that for every point in time, there must be something that you need to do, or there must be something that you need to get to be able to better the atmosphere or the situation with which you find yourself. And as long as that it is in operation, then there must be a counter reaction to be able to make sure that you get something to be able to get the best out of that situation. And as long as you're doing that, what you're doing is that you're thinking, and the product of that thinking is the idea that will come up. So basically, ideas are just thought. Now, having known that ideas are thought, then there are some basic things that we need to look at in order for us to now make sure that this idea is benefiting because we can't just talk about idea and then not looking at it from the business angle. When you just think, it still does not guarantee that it's going to generate profit. It will only generate profit when you now decide to look at it from the business angle, or when you now decide to look at it from how does this going to give me profit. Now, but before we look into the fact that ideas can generate profit, I think we need to first of all understand some certain things, basically on how to create idea. Yeah, when I say creating idea, some may be of this opinion that, look, I don't think I can create ideas. I have tried severally and I've not been able to create an idea. And so because of that, I would just want to just throw a little bit of light on the philosophy of idea, so that we can have a good pedestrian to work on. In looking at this philosophy of idea, I will take us to some various school of thought. I will just talk basically about two major school of thought according to philosophers who are talking about the world of idea. Now, firstly, there's this concept of innate ideas. Some school of thought believe that the innate ideas are ideas that men are born with, that naturally there are some certain things that are inherent in you. Take for instance the ability to be able to sing, which is also a business. Some believe that no matter how you learn how to sing, you may not be able to know how to sing, except it is inborn. Why some still do not believe that even if it's not inborn, they believe that when you learn how to sing, you can at a point in time know how to sing. And that's what will take me to the other school of thought, which is also another concept about idea, which is talking about the adventitious idea. Now, the adventitious idea that believes that we all have the ability to create idea as long as we are experiencing life, meaning that ideas comes as a result of the experience that we go through. Now, some even went further in this school of thought, which is quite similar to this adventitious idea, and some talked about the tabula rasa. Now, the tabula rasa is a concept that believe that, or the school of thought that believe that every man is born blank, and we get everything that becomes our behavior, that becomes our character, as a result of nurture, that is, as a result of the experience we go through in life. And that, which is quite similar to the adventitious idea. And as a result of that, because we are born blank, that is the tabula rasa, and then we begin to experience life. Now we have the ability to create and understand from the things that we experience. So which means to say, if you look at all the school of thought, it means to say that one way or the other, everybody falls within one of those categories. It is either you are in the category of innate ideas, or you are in the category of the adventitious ideas. Now, whatever, even if you are in the category of innate idea, the same school of thought still believe that that same innate idea must be put to use. And then if it has to be put to use, it means that there must be some practicality, there must be some things that you must have done out of experience for you to be able to have the maximum ability of that innate ideas. Those with the school of thought of the innate ideas cannot outrightly say that those with the school of thought of the adventitious ideas are wrong. So which means the two can still work hand in hand. And in whatsoever you want to look at it, you either fall into one of those groups, or you even fall into the two groups. This is to make you understand that no matter the situation we find ourselves, everybody can create idea, everybody can own a business, everybody can start a business. However, now that may not be the only thing that is required for you to be able to start a business or to be able to own a business, but that's one of the major criteria that is needed for you to be able to start or own a business, and which is idea. And that is one thing I just want us to to practically look at and see that we all have the potential to be able to create one. Having understood that we all have the potential to create one, then I think we are just on the right path to own a business or to start a business, because that's the basic thing that we all need. Like I said, this is not rocket science. I'm talking from experience, I'm talking from the practical things that can help us to be able to put things right. Now, having understood that you can create idea, then you now come to the extent of how do I make this idea profitable. Making idea profitable may not really be a big deal, in the sense that every man has a need, every man has a want, and so in order for you to be able to meet your want, in order for you to be able to meet your need per time, you must always look out for what to give to be able to get something, because life is symbiotic. So because of that, so when ideas are coming, basically we need to look at the way in which those ideas can be profiting, and then when it becomes profiting, it means that it can be sellable to someone. And so when it gets sellable to someone, then we can make profit out of it. Now, how do we now make ideas profitable? There's a deliberate need for this, for you to be able to make ideas profitable, and that is meditation. How do I meditate, and how can meditation give me profit, or how can meditation bring about ideas that will now give me profit? But one thing I must quickly emphasize on more is that no matter the methodology or the system that might have been put into practice or as a way of either creating or generating ideas, you will still discover that all of them still revolves around meditation. The truth is that we all meditate, but despite the fact that we all meditate, some may still wonder, they still may not understand the process of this meditation, and that's why I'll just quickly break it down. Subdivided this meditation into two parts, and there's what I call the deliberate meditation and the other that I call the reflex meditation. Now, for you to be able to make profit, many a times there's need for you to do a deliberate meditation. Take for instance, which is the present situation that we found ourselves. Now, look at it from the fact that since the pandemic came into being, you've not been able to go out. You have to work from home. That's if you ever work. Now you can't meet with your clients, you can't do your business the way you do it normally. Also, I mean, your daily expenses has not ceased. And then you can imagine if you have kept some money somewhere, you are spending on a daily basis and there's no income to it. Of course it's going to finish. And so there's need for you to now deliberately sit down and say, okay, look, I must be able to fashion out another way in which I will be able to continue my business even in the midst of this lockdown. And so for me, it's a deliberate meditation. It is something that is pre-planned. Then you now sit down and try to analyze your business, the business you've been doing before, and that which you're just trying to, or maybe if there's anyone you're trying to create. I'm just using that as an example, really. So I'm using an existing business. So it means you have to just sit down. Or a situation where, no, okay, let me not use an existing business. A situation where some money just got into your hand, and then you're looking at how do I make use of this business. It requires that you need to do a deliberate meditation. You need to really sit down and look at so many things. You have to consider so many factors and say, okay, this business, this money that I have at hand, I have to go into this, I have to go into this because of this, so that I can do this, so that I can turn it around. So that's a form of deliberate meditation. And there's the other one I call the reflex meditation. Is the one that comes in a situation where so most times they are subconscious. Now I think I can really better explain that by looking at the fact that if you are the type that is passionate about helping people, if you are the type that is always passionate about bringing smile onto people, and you don't want anything to go wrong around you and stuff like that, you are likely to benefit a lot from the reflex meditation, in the sense that when you find yourself in a situation where probably maybe an accident has just occurred and you need to save a life, and at that point in time you don't have the time to separate yourself and you want to think. It's the kind of thinking that comes in is subconscious. It's so spontaneous, but you have actually thought, but you wouldn't know. But you must have done something at that point in time to be able to save that particular life. Probably maybe you approach that situation and you are able to save that life at that point in time. The methodology that you have used to save that life. Take for instance, maybe you are a medical practitioner. There must be some things that you must have put in place. Maybe something that you've never even been taught. You just say, okay, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. At that point in time, what you have done that's been able to save that life is an idea. And that idea can be commercialized. After effect of the whole thing, if it has delivered the required result and you have never tried it before, that's an idea. That's an idea that has come out of a reflex action, and which is out of a reflex meditation. You have meditated, but because it's so subconscious, it's so spontaneous, you wouldn't have known that you have meditated. In a nutshell, what I'm just trying to say is that everyone has the potential, has the ability to create idea, and everyone has the ability to also turn that idea into a profit-making venture. Just like I've said, this may not be the only thing that you need to be able to start or own a business, but it's a paramount thing, and it's a fundamental, it's a basic thing that we need. We're talking about 7 major guides to starting or owning a business. So we've just talked about one point, which is the idea, and I think I would just want to rest the case on that idea now. But you know what? Believe me, we are going to trash the other 6 points, which is going to follow. So look for the subscribe button. You see a red button just beneath the screen. So all I need you to do is to just click on the subscribe button, and so that you can have an update to be able to follow us up, and then be privileged to see the 2nd point, the 3rd point, the 4th point, the 5th point, and the 7th point. However, you can always make comments, and then based on how we have discussed today, you can always make comments. You can always send your comment to us as you follow us on our social media handles. You can get us on mentorsminttv on Instagram. You can get us on mentorsminttv on Twitter. You can get us on mentorsminttv on Facebook, and you can also get us on mentorsminttv on LinkedIn. You're free to just drop your comments and follow us up, and so just be with us, keep in touch, and then you get to see our next view on the other points to starting or owning a business. Cheers, business.